Luc Bouchard with Solvac Life Coaching Services. I've been a certified life skills coach for 22 years, and I specialize in male behaviors and other behaviors such as masculinity and machoism. Welcome. Today is the 45th day of the 72-day challenge. We're in a new week. It's week 7, and the topic this week is masculinity. The daily focus is male conditioning, and the topic is the myth of masculinity. I bet you saw that coming. So, being a new week, we're going to start with talking about the topic and what the focus of the week is, and it's obviously masculinity because I've mentioned it a few times. But I just want to really talk about why I find this is a very important subject to touch on and why I want to shine a light on it. Because it's very male behavior. It's not something we really see a lot of women engaging in masculinity, and if they do, there's a whole bunch of words for them, which I don't need to go into because you can fill them yourself. But masculinity and macho behavior, which is the extension, the epitome of masculinity and being there, is really in the male domain. And it's kind of curious as to why we engage in all those behaviors, and I just want to talk about that in this video. So, to begin with, macho behavior, masculine behavior, is really about posturing, one-upmanship, making yourself feel better, not showing weaknesses, and not letting them see you sweat. And it's really this kind of being out there and being very external in a lot of ways. And it really is saying to other people, I'm tough, I can handle it, and you're not going to let me sweat. I'm not going to show any weaknesses. I'm not going to really be anything less than weak. I can match you and I can outdo you. And really what masculinity and macho behavior is doing is it's not really defining yourself as a male or male behavior. It's defining yourself as not being something else. And it goes back to the work of Terence Real and his book, I Don't Want to Talk About It, which I did a review a couple weeks ago. And so much of male behavior is really about not being female. And masculinity and macho behavior is really an extension of that, about basically saying, I'm going to prove that I am not weak or I'm not feminine. I'm going to show you through my behaviors that I'm Teflon and no one can hurt me. So it's not about being male, it's about not being female. The other things we see with masculinity and macho behavior is really this idea that you're living in the moment. You're not considering future implications. You're not really considering other things that are going to happen tomorrow or the day after, because you're so involved in posturing right now and being tough right now. And in a lot of ways, what it really is about is that you're very fearful of what other people think. You're very concerned with other people think. Why else would men engage in this behavior, and often very harmful behavior and high-risk behavior, if they're not really worried what other people think? So it's saving face, and it's about giving your power away. Because generally, I need to prove something to other people because I'm not okay with myself. And when I was doing this video, I was really thinking about the concept of, is macho and masculine behavior really intended for an audience? Or I'll say that differently, is if there's no one going to find out that a man is being really macho and testosterone based and very tough, will he do it? You know, if a macho man falls in a forest and no one hears, will he still cry? Like, you know, I don't know. It just seems that it's really about performing for an audience and performing for others. And I think that that's what it's mostly about. But it's just something I was just thinking about today as I was getting ready to do this video. Is it really always audience based? And I think mostly it is, but I'm not sure. Send me an email. Let me know what you think about that. As I mentioned, a lot of masculine behavior is about putting yourself in harm's way and engaging in high-risk behaviors for the show of others, I think. And so we see that in high-risk behaviors, and we see that in things like not being safe on the job, excessive drinking, where you're really not thinking about future consequences. And in a lot of ways, we see the sporting industry is really about very masculine and very macho behavior, because you have guys that are engaged in leaving it all out on the field or leaving nothing behind and having implications for years, for the rest of their lives, of injured bodies and whatnot, because of the fact that they had to prove that they're tough, because of the fact that they had to show something. And it's interesting about how entrenched in our society this belief system is. And further to that, I just want to, the reason why this video is called The Myth of Masculinity is that it's really simply a construct. It's really simply a belief system. It's not true. It's not real. It's not as if, really, in many ways, being masculine and being macho has really good implications of living a long life. On the contrary, we live less long. It's not as if masculinity really brings us to our authentic selves. Maybe we get a lot of social status from it, but does it really help us in the long run if we're injured and we end up dying because we're having to prove something to others? No. And really, what we're talking about here is power and control. And that was a video I did a few days ago. That this is behaviors where you're really exerting power and control. And maybe it's not at the risk of others or the cost of others, but it's certainly at the cost of yourself. And it's not really being authentic, because the authentic self would be more about, I'm really fearful of what other people think, so I have to prove something and I'm going to not do that. But by and large, men don't do that. They engage more in this idea of having to posture and show something, show off to other people, so that they will get, social approval. So, my question is, when do you engage in masculine, overt masculine behavior that's for the approval of others? And would you do it if no one was around? I certainly know I've engaged in enough of my masculine behavior and my macho behavior, and I think it's always based on others' approvals or what other people are going to think. So I leave that with you and to ponder. Love to hear some men's opinion on this, so please send me an email. It's at the end of the video. Luc Bouchard with Solve Act Life Coaching Services. I've been a certified life skills coach for 22 years, and I specialize in men's issues and what keeps men stuck and how they engage in macho behavior. You take care, and we'll be back tomorrow for the day 46. Bye.